Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome to my 10.2 mid lane SoloQ tier list, running through the best picks of this patch for you guys to abuse. I haven't done a tier list for a long time, guys. I'm not really the biggest fan of kind of stretching these type of videos out on the YouTube. That's why I'm starting a Patreon where I will post mid lane tier list every single patch. I'll go into depth. I've got a bunch of other stuff on my new Patreon that helps you guys out. Got some coaching on there, some AMAs, some SoloQ kind of prizes. So if you want to give that a go, I'll put a link down in the description. I'm still going to do like tier list videos every now and then, but it's not going to be every patch. I think that it's not really worth doing a video every single patch for some of these tier lists. But without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Starting off in my god tiers, guys, we have the Rumble, Qiyana, Syndra, Cassio, Katarina, and Talon. So right now, Rumble mid has been seeing a massive surge. It's been pick and ban in a lot of these pro play games. It has really strong mid lane matchups. It has great priority. It has super good 2v2 skirmishes. You can roam a lot. You see players like Doomby going the Predator with like Celerity and Water Walking going the river and just perma roaming. This Rumble pick, guys, I definitely recommend it. Everyone's complaining about it in high elo. I played a lot myself. I think that it just feels like you can never really lose. The problem is if you verse something like the Syndra, the Cassiopeia, okay, maybe you get behind a little bit in the early game, but in the mid game, so imagine you blow Syndra flash, Cassio flash. They're really immobile. You drop an ult on their head, what do? They do nothing. They can't go anywhere. They're too slowed. Your team ramps them up. You can do that from such a long range away that this Rumble mid lane pick, it's definitely going to be one of the best on 10.2. I recommend it to everybody looking to pick it up. You can flex it mid top as well. It's a great pick. Give it a go. Moving across now, we have the Qiyana. Saw a small nerf on this patch. It's mainly a jungle nerf. It's on the W attack speed. I believe it used to be flat 20%. Now it goes from 5, 10, 15, 20. So it's a little bit of a hit to the W, the attack speed. But overall, Qiyana is still such a potent mid laner, guys. Because of this push and roam where she gets that tier mat and permanently roams around the map looking for 2v2s, looking for fights around dragons, looking for bot lane dives. That's what makes Qiyana so potent, and that's why she's still in the S tiers and probably one of the best picks in SoloQ for this patch. So next up is the two best control mages of the patch. It's going to be Syndra and Cassiopeia. These two picks, you got the Syndra, big lane bully. Cassiopeia with the Conqueror setup, a 1v9er. Nothing can really outdamage the Cassiopeia mid to late game, 2-3 items. This champion just takes over the games. These are the two picks. Remember that Syndra counters the Cassiopeia. It's a soft counter. There's not many hard counters to Cassio. You've got to be very careful of these all-in type champions, things like the Nocturne, Fizz. The good thing about Cassiopeia is that you can itemize. You go for that Archangel. You can go into an Hourglass, Banshees. You go Abyssal Mask if you want. You can go so many different items, and that's why she's so good of a control mage at the moment. And that's why I think she's just a little bit better than things like the Orianna, the Victor, like the Rise. I just think that Syndra, Cassiopeia, they are the pick of the patch for control mages right now. Moving down now, lastly, to the Katarina and the Talon. Now, these picks, I don't really classify them as S tier. They're maybe like S minus. I think these two champions, if you one-trick them, these are probably going to be your go-to AP or AD picks. They have great shove in lane, permanently roaming. They can snowball and take over games. These are going to be your two go-tos. But I don't really necessarily think you need these in your champion pool. You simply pick one of these champions, you one-trick it, you master it, and you can take over the game. I'm going to do a VOD review soon. Rank 1 career, Sandbox 10-10. Just hit rank 1 with Talon mid. There's still plenty of Katarina one-tricks getting about in challenger games at the moment. So these two picks, I definitely recommend looking to one-trick them. If not, probably leave them alone. Moving across now, let's touch on a couple of the A-tier picks. We have the Diana, which has seen a huge change to the ultimate. I think this champion right now is very strong. I think it's close to being S tier, but not quite. Everybody's still trying to work out what's the best setup for Diana. I personally think an Electrocute setup, something like a Protobelt Hourglass into a Deathcap or a Morello, is probably the best bet. I see a lot of people trying Nashes with Conqueror. This was good for a little bit, but at the end of the day, I still think Diana should be played in a team fight, just looking for team fight flanks, getting that ultimate, especially in lower elos where everyone stacks together, hit that ultimate, just steamrolling over the fight. What else do we have here appearing in the A tiers? Nocturne mid. A lot of people thought that with the removal of Spear of Sojourn, Nocturne mid might get knocked down to B or C, but no. Nocturne mid right now, it counters a lot of these control mages, things like the Syndra, the Cassiopeia. You end up going Tiamat for the hard shove into things like the Edge of Night, things like the Dusk Blade. So the Edge of Night, you can just ult in, then what? Syndra tries to get you off her, Cassiopeia tries to ult you or something, it doesn't work. If they go Hourglass, your E goes through Hourglass if you can get it off in time. So that's the end of the day. The Nocturne mid has so many good mid lane matchups at the moment, such good itemization. You can get Black Cleaver, Edge of Night. You get like 2.5k health, man. You got a steamrolling the mid game. So that's why Nocturne mid at the moment is doing so well. What else do we have? We have the Akali, which is an interesting one. I hate to put Akali so far up because the skill cap on this champion is so high. But at its height, at its peaks, my god, this champion does wonders right now. You see so many high elo, like people like Showmaker are abusing Akali mid right now with that Conqueror setup. But they are planning on hard nerfing Akali, so maybe getting quick with this pick. We also see Lucian mid moving up. I think Lucian mid. You see a lot of the high elo, once again, Korean mid laner and top laners playing a lot of Lucian. You can just bully out so many champions, man. You have such a clean early laning phase. You can snowball the game before the enemy even comes into their item spikes. Lucian mid, Blade of the Rune King, Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge, into situational things like Rapid Fire Cannon. You can go things like the QSS, the Merc Skim, the Maw. Plenty of items you can go with this Lucian mid. It's a great pick. What else do we want to touch on? Fizz, Echo, Great Assassins, Vladimir, Kassadin, good scalers, Orianna, still decent team fighter, but that Syndra, the Cassiopeia seem to be a little bit better just because you can take over the game more. TF is still up there. Dopa loves abusing this champion, but a couple of the mid lane matchups at the moment aren't too favorable. You need to be very, very careful when picking things like the TF at the moment. Ahri, it's decent in below diamond. When you get up into those high echelon games, Ahri really falls off and these other champions just completely demolish her in the laning phase. Next up is my B tier champions, guys. And also, for the people that join the Patreon, guys, you can join my Discord. And if you want to ask me about the champion you're playing or want to play, just pop in there, jump into the Discord, and just ask me, hey, Midbeast, what do you think about this champion? I'll get back to you on that. I know it helps out a lot of one tricks and people maybe looking to drop a champion, pick something new up, or just wondering if the champion they're playing can get them into the higher elos. So the B tiers, guys, Ornn mid. I can see LS somewhere, man, and he is getting flustered because Ornn mid right now is actually very strong. It's definitely, dude, the scaling on this champion is perfect. You need to be careful in the early game. Just getting caught out a little bit. The champion definitely doesn't have the strongest early laning phase. You don't want to drop a kill or two. You want to come into level 6, start looking for those ultimates with your jungler, scale into the late game, team fight correctly, get your team those upgrades. It's pretty much like a Malzahar who's also in the B tiers. It's pretty much like I guess it's like a tank Malzahar at the end of the day. Has a good ultimate, good setup, and great scaling. Moving across, what else do we have? Ziggs mid, huge buff to Ziggs mid this patch. The champion is getting a lot more damage, a lot more utility in the kit. Does it really matter? Not really. It's Ziggs mid, man. Like, at the end of the day, why not just play Syndra, a champion you can just pop solo kills? Why not play something like the Talia, like the Aurelion, where you can permanently roam? Ziggs mid, I mean, has good wave clear, decent team fighting, decent damage, but it just, like, why pick Ziggs when you can pick A, B? There's so many different champions I can input there as to picking Ziggs mid. So lastly, we have the C tiers, the not optimals. I don't recommend any of these picks right now, guys. If you want to play them, you can. Corki, Azir got buffs recently. It doesn't really matter. Maybe they can be played at the highest level in competitive games where it's very stale. There's a lot of consistency where they can get 3-4 items. Don't play these picks in SoloQ. There's no need. Pick something better. Sylas saw a massive revamp and change. Boring. The champion is so slow. It is so clunky. When Riot Games change champions and they make them more clunky, like they've done to Sylas, like they've done to Talia, I don't know why. Why are they making the quality of life of a champion worse? You should be essentially making them feel better to play. Even if they're a little bit worse, I'd rather it actually feel smooth. So yeah, they've just cancelled Sylas for me. I don't like touching the champion. You can't EQ combo. There's a lot of combos you can't do now. The champion just really predictable now, and there's so much counterplay. Lysandra a champion. It's really still lacking a lot of damage. The cooldowns they took off on the Q early game means she can't shove people in like she used to. There's no point in picking her, in my opinion. Your things like the Xerath, the Lux, these mid-range, like mid to long-range AP poke champions are really not in the style, not in the meta at the moment. Pretty much the meta right now is push and roam champions or just all-in type champions. You can see that in my S and my A's, guys. Their kits are just completely better. Like you just look on every single ability and the S and the A tier kits are just so much better. And the kits of the C tiers, a lot of these champions are outdated or just aren't simply made for the right now in the current meta for the mid lane. So things like the Karma, the Zillion, I reckon even the Galio, great for support to be honest. Maybe not great for support, but playable support. But not for the mid lane. To be honest, not even playable in support. If you're playing support, you're not playing like Nautilus, Leona, what else? Blitzcrank, Thresh. What else do we have? Like Pike. There's so many other champions I could name. Alistar, like these all-in beefy champions. You just, I don't know what you're doing because they're so freelo when you get Mobies, Perma-Roam, Perma-Engage. Moving down, what else we have? Aatrox, Irelia. Wouldn't recommend these champions. Renekton, it's a decent bruiser. I think Kled up in the B tier is a little bit better. Swain, definitely a better support. What else do we have? Nico, not really there at the moment. Won't be seeing much play. Any, I don't know. I haven't seen any in months, if I'm going to be honest. Champion at the moment, I don't feel any pressure in lane when I verse them. I don't really think any of these C tiers should be picked. Unless you're looking to just cruise, have a little bit of fun, guys. Try and make something unique work. I don't judge that. You can climb to Challenger with some of these C tier picks. People have done it before, but it's going to be harder. It's probably going to be more frustrating for the climb. So, I don't know. Maybe look to revamp yourself in Season 10. Pick up one of those S or those A tiers and really commit yourselves to them.